Survivors of abuse have said Cardinal Sean Brady must resign over his role in the case of convicted child abuser Brendan Smith. Dr. Brady has admitted he was present in 1975 when two young children who were abused by the priest were asked to sign an oath of secrecy. But Cardinal Brady has said he won't be standing down.
In 1997, Father Brendan Smith was convicted of more than 90 counts of sexual abuse. But as far back as 1975, Cardinal Sean Brady was aware of complaints about the priest. Dr. Brady told his bishop, but never passed the information on to Gardaí. Some of those abused by Brendan Smith say Cardinal Brady has no choice but to resign over his handling of the case.
This man knew that children were being sexually abused in 1975, and he was ushered in to have them silent and had this in writing and in pledges to him. So he therefore facilitated the continual sexual abuse of children.
Another victim who was abused by Brendan Smith between 1974 and 79 says she was hurt and angry by Cardinal Brady's inaction.
I suppose my life could have been so different, everything could have been so different, and I know he could have saved me if he went to the guards and done the right thing as any citizen of this country is bound to do. The law is the law. If Jesus was here today, there's no doubt about it, he would say, shame on you, you're supposed to be an example to these people on the ground. You're the leader of this country in relation to the Catholic Church, and look what you're doing. You're no example. The adults in my life just listened to what I was trying to tell them. You know, I didn't have the words because he told me I was going to go to hell if I told anyone. And that's another thing. This Sean Brady asked 10 and a 14-year-old, or whatever age they were, to sign a form to secrecy. I mean, that's what abusers do. They keep you silent, they keep you secret, and Brendan Smith would tell you it was all your fault, and if you weren't so bad, and to save you from going to hell, he had to do these things. And yet you have Sean Brady saying to kids, sign this, and that's colluding with what Brendan Smith had told them, to keep silent and to... It was just as bad, and I do believe, OK, you have your perpetrators, but those who protect them and who don't give out the information are worse than any bloody perpetrators. I do believe that.
Samantha says it should be Cardinal Brady's own conscience, rather than the call of survivors, that determines whether he should resign. Samantha Librari, RTE News.
Support groups have also joined calls for the Cardinal's resignation. The Dublin Rape Crisis Centre claimed Dr. Brady had covered up his role in the Father Smith affair, while the Rape Crisis Network says his position is now untenable. However, the Cardinal rejected the suggestion that his silence had allowed Brendan Smith to continue to abuse children.
The most senior Catholic cleric in Ireland, Cardinal Sean Brady, is determined to stay in his role. Although he learned of child sex abuse allegations against Brendan Smith in 1975, he believes it's not his fault the paedophile continued to abuse after that.
That was because others didn't do their duty. Is it fair?
Did you do your duty?
I felt I did my duty with the duty that was assigned to me by my bishop. I think it's not fair to judge actions of 35 years ago by the standards we are following today.
One canon law expert today backed his position.
He had no obligation whatsoever to go to the Gardaí. There is no law, and was no law in Ireland, on mandatory reporting. He was part of a confidential, in-camera investigation.
But not everyone in the church sees it that way.
Sexual abuse of children was a crime in 1975. It's a crime now. And I think there's a moral obligation on all adult citizens to report such serious allegations to the Gardaí. And I know it may be hurtful to say so, but I do believe that I think that this is a resignation issue.
Rape support groups feel Cardinal Sean Brady should have admitted before now that he knew about some of the abuse back in 1975.
If this man wants to do anything in his life that is really important, it'll be that he will show true leadership and resign.
Campaigners now want sex abuse inquiries extended into every diocese in the country to put an end to cover-ups and denial once and for all. Sharon Tobin, RTE News.
Our religious and social affairs correspondent Joe Little joins me now. Joe, all-day pressure has been mounting on Cardinal Brady to resign over this matter.
Yes, and there have been calls from various survivors, as you saw there on the previous reports, and also on organisations who have been campaigning for survivors down the years. They have called very strongly for Sean Brady to step down as Cardinal. For example, Voice of the Faithful, a reform group based in Coleraine in Northern Ireland and with branches in some parishes in the country, says that they cannot see why Cardinal Brady believes that he can now provide the leadership that's needed to draw a line under all that's happened and to capture the enthusiasm of all Catholics, survivors especially, for the programme of recovery that's now so greatly needed. We've had a call from Christine Buckley for the Church to consider a new man who would give credibility to the leadership, and she mentions Archbishop Diarmuid Martin as someone who springs to mind here. And we've had the supporter of Cardinal Brady coming out today, apart from the Cardinal's own interview this morning on Morning Ireland and on other stations in the country. We've had Monsignor Maurice Dooley saying there that the Cardinal was under no obligation to report these matters to the police. He said that in some instances church law takes precedence over state law and in others it doesn't, whereas Cardinal Brady seems to be indicating that the situation now is that church law never takes precedence over state law. So there seems to be some confusion in the ranks among the supporters of Cardinal Brady as to exactly what the Church's position is about the need to report these matters directly to the Gardaí and the health authorities.
Joe, thank you very much for joining us. And anyone who has been affected by abuse can contact the HSE's National Counselling Service. That's at 1-800-235-234, or the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre's 24-hour helpline. That's 1-800-778888. A 22-year-old Dublin man has been jailed for 10